Close your eyes now, and let your breathing slow. Far away, beyond the noise of the modern world, beyond bright lights and restless streets, there is another place waiting in the quiet darkness. A place where the air is warm, even after sunset. A place where the river moves softly through black water, reflecting pale stars above. A place where mud-brick homes rest close together beneath a wide and silent sky. Tonight, we drift there. To the banks of the Nile. To an ancient village settling into evening. The long day is ending. The heat is beginning to soften. The workers are returning home. And for a little while, before sleep takes them, the village becomes a world of slow sounds and gentle shadows. You walk along a narrow dusty path. Your sandals press softly into warm earth that still holds the memory of the sun. The ground is dry, but not far away, the river brings coolness. You can smell it. Fresh water. Wet reeds. River mud. A faint sweetness from distant date palms. And smoke. Thin lines of cooking smoke rising into the evening sky. The Nile is never far from anyone here. It gives life to every field, every loaf of bread, every basket of fish, every tired worker washing dust from weary hands. Without the river, there would be only sand and silence. But with it, there is movement. There is labor. There is family. There is routine. And now, there is rest. The sun has almost disappeared. Its final light glows orange across the mud walls of the village. Small houses stand shoulder to shoulder. Their walls are thick and cool. Their roofs are flat, made from wooden beams and packed earth. Some families sleep on the roof when the nights are especially warm. Others stay inside, where darkness gathers early and the air smells faintly of grain and clay. Children move quietly now. Even they are tired. Their feet are dusty. Their hair smells of sun and river water. They have spent the day carrying small bundles, chasing one another through narrow lanes, helping mothers grind grain, helping fathers gather tools. Now their voices are softer. Their movements slower. One by one, they disappear inside their homes. A woman kneels near a small clay oven. Her hands move with practiced calm. She presses dough into flat rounds. The bread is simple. Barley and emmer grain. Ground slowly on stone. Mixed with water. A little salt. Sometimes herbs. Sometimes crushed dates. The dough sticks slightly to her fingers. She smooths it. Turns it. Places it carefully against the hot inner wall of the oven. Warm air rises. The smell spreads into the street. Fresh bread. Earthy and comforting. Nearby, another woman crushes dried garlic with a stone pestle. A child fans a small fire. An older man sits on a low stool beside the doorway, rubbing tired knees. His hands are rough. His shoulders are bent. Today he worked in the fields. Tomorrow he will do the same. The Nile has already flooded and left behind dark fertile soil. Now the planting must continue. Row after row. Bent backs beneath the sun. Feet deep in wet earth. Hours passing slowly. The work is endless. But tonight, there is bread. There is shade. There is stillness. He closes his eyes for a moment. Not sleeping. Only resting. Listening. Across the village, sounds rise and fade. Clay jars being moved. Goats settling into small pens. The soft splash of someone drawing water. Quiet voices. Sandals brushing stone floors. A baby crying briefly. Then silence again. Above it all, birds return to hidden nests among reeds near the river. The sky deepens. Blue fades into purple. Then darker still. Oil lamps begin to glow. Small flames flicker behind doorways. Their light dances on mud walls. Long shadows stretch across narrow rooms. Inside one house, a young scribe sits cross-legged near a low lamp. His work is not yet finished. Others have returned from fields and workshops. But his labor continues into evening. A smooth piece of papyrus lies before him. A reed pen rests between careful fingers. His eyes ache. His back aches. Even writing has its burden. Today he spent long hours recording grain counts, measuring taxes, copying lists, keeping order in a world built on labor. Numbers, names, deliveries, storehouses. Always more to record. The lamp burns low. Its smell is sharp. Animal fat mixed with smoke. He dips his pen. Writes another line. His hand is steady. Outside, he hears laughter fading in the street. Soon he too will rest. But not yet. Across the village, a fisherman returns late. His small reed boat has finally been tied beside the riverbank. The Nile at dusk is quieter than by day. The water darkens. Fish move beneath the surface. The reeds whisper when the wind touches them. He carries a woven net over one shoulder. It is still damp. Heavy. His tunic clings to his skin. Sweat and river water mix together. He smells of fish. Of mud. Of wet rope. He is tired. Very tired. But there are fish for supper. His family will eat well tonight. Inside his home, his wife cleans the catch with quick hands. Silver scales catch the lamplight. A cat waits nearby, patient and alert. Children watch from the doorway. Their stomachs are already hungry. Soon the fish will roast over coals. The scent will fill the room. And afterward, everyone will sleep deeply. The village moves gently toward night. No one rushes. No one expects more from this day. The work has been done. Tomorrow will ask for strength again. But not yet. For now, there is only this quiet hour. One of the most peaceful moments in the life of the Nile village. A builder walks home slowly. His feet ache. Today he worked far from the village, helping shape massive stone blocks for a temple wall. His hands are blistered. Fine dust still covers his skin. Stone dust settles into the lines of his palms. His shoulders burn from lifting. All day, he heard hammer against chisel. Stone against stone. Commands from overseers. Heavy breathing. Sweat dripping into eyes. Now, there is only the sound of his own footsteps. Slow. Measured. Each step bringing him home. He carries no pride. No complaint. Only exhaustion. He enters his home and removes his sandals. His feet touch cool packed earth. The sensation is immediate. Comforting. His wife offers him water. Cool from a clay jar. He drinks slowly. The water tastes faintly of river and clay. Perfect. Simple. Necessary. He sits. And for a long while, says nothing. Words are not needed. The quiet itself is enough. Outside, stars begin to appear. One by one. Ancient and steady. The same stars watched by farmers, fishermen, scribes, servants, children. They guide boats. Mark seasons. Offer silent company. People glance upward often. Not to wonder. Only to know. To feel their place beneath something vast. A servant girl climbs to a rooftop carrying folded sleeping mats. The roof still holds warmth from the day. But soon it will cool. She lays the mats carefully. One for her master's family. One for herself near the edge. She pauses. Looks toward the Nile. From here she can see moonlight touching the water. She can hear frogs near the reeds. The night breeze lifts loose strands of hair from her face. It feels good. After hours spent carrying jars, sweeping floors, grinding grain, washing clothes by the river. Her hands ache. Her lower back throbs. But this moment belongs to her. Only a few breaths. Only a few quiet seconds. Stillness. Below, the village glows softly. Oil lamps. Small fires. Moving shadows. A dog curls beside a doorway. A donkey shifts in sleep. Far away, someone sings softly while rocking a child. The song is low. Simple. Old. A melody passed through many generations. No instruments. Only voice. Only comfort. The servant girl closes her eyes. Listens. Then returns downstairs. There is still more work before sleep. In another house, an old grandmother prepares a place for sleeping. There are no soft beds. Only woven reed mats. Linen cloth. Rolled blankets. Sometimes wooden headrests. Simple curved supports for the neck. They seem hard. But people here are used to them. They protect hairstyles. They lift the head above insects. They are ordinary. The grandmother shakes dust from a mat. Spreads linen. Adjusts a small folded cloth. Her hands move slowly now. Age has made them stiff. Her knees pain her. Her eyes do not see clearly in dim light. But she remembers every step. She has done this thousands of times. Prepared sleep for children. For husbands. For guests. For herself. Night after night. Year after year. Outside, the warm wind moves through narrow streets. Dust lifts gently. Palm leaves rustle. The Nile continues its endless quiet motion. Never hurried. Never still. Always there. A source of work. A source of life. A source of comfort. Tomorrow before dawn, the village will wake again. Roosters will call. Workers will rise. Bread will bake. Tools will be lifted. Boats will push into water. Children will carry water jars. Fields will demand labor. The sun will return. The heat will grow heavy. Bodies will sweat. Hands will tire. But for now, for this long quiet evening, everything slows. A merchant closes his wooden shutters. His small shop is dark now. Today he traded oil, salt, linen cloth, dried fish, copper tools. Simple things. Necessary things. He counts what remains. Wraps small goods in cloth. Places them carefully into storage jars. His fingers smell of spice and metal. He sighs. A long slow breath. Then extinguishes his lamp. Darkness folds around him. Only moonlight remains. And the sound of sandals carrying him home. The village softens further. Conversation fades. Cooking fires dim. Doors close. The stars brighten. The Nile whispers nearby. And one by one, Tired workers lie down. On roofs. On reed mats. Beside children. Beside spouses. Near open windows. Beneath woven blankets. Listening. Breathing. Resting. Their muscles ache. Their feet throb. Their hands are rough. Some cough softly from dust. Some shift to ease sore backs. Some fall asleep instantly. Others stare quietly into darkness. Thinking of nothing. Only feeling the coolness arrive. Only hearing the peaceful sounds of night. A fisherman's net drying outside. A loose shutter tapping gently. Water touching reeds. The distant call of a night bird. The sigh of desert wind moving over mud walls. And above all, the great Nile. Always near. Always patient. Always flowing. The ancient village settles deeper into sleep. And you remain there. Walking softly through narrow silent paths. Past dark homes. Past sleeping animals. Past cooling ovens. Past clay jars lined neatly beside doorways. The sand beneath your feet is cooler now. The air gentler. The stars brighter. The river shining softly beside the village. And somewhere, from an open rooftop, comes the sound of slow breathing. A family asleep beneath the open sky. Safe. Tired. At peace. The long quiet evening continues. The night grows deeper over the village. The last warmth of the day still lingers in the mud brick walls, held quietly inside them, like a memory the earth is not yet ready to release. The air feels softer now. The heat no longer presses against the skin. A gentle breeze moves in from the Nile, carrying the cool scent of wet reeds and dark water. It passes through narrow lanes and over flat rooftops. It stirs hanging linen. It brushes sleeping faces. It slips beneath doorways. And everywhere it goes, it brings relief. Most of the village is asleep now. Breathing has replaced conversation. Stillness has replaced movement. Yet the ancient world is never completely silent. Even at this quiet hour, life continues in small and patient ways. On one rooftop, a young mother lies awake beside her sleeping children. Their bodies are curled close together on woven mats. One child's hand rests gently across her arm. Another has turned in sleep, his blanket pushed away. She reaches over and pulls it back over his small shoulders. Her fingers are careful. Slow. She does not want to wake him. The moonlight falls across their faces. It is pale and soft. Enough to see the shape of a cheek. The rise and fall of a chest. The loose curls of hair damp from the day's heat. The mother does not sleep immediately. Her body is tired, but her mind still lingers. She thinks of tomorrow's bread. Of grain that must be ground before sunrise. Of water jars that need filling. Of linen that must be washed at the river's edge. Of her husband's worn tunic that needs mending. Her hands ache already at the thought of it. But she does not feel troubled. This is simply life. One task after another. One day folding gently into the next. She listens to the sounds around her. A neighbor shifting on another rooftop. The soft creak of a wooden ladder. A distant donkey making a sleepy noise in its stall. Farther away, the slow splash of an oar on water. Someone is still awake on the Nile. Perhaps a fisherman checking his nets in the moonlight. Perhaps a traveler arriving late. Perhaps a ferryman guiding someone quietly across the dark river. The mother closes her eyes. Not yet asleep. Only listening. Only resting. In a small house nearby, An old man coughs softly in the darkness. The dust from many years of labor has settled deep in his chest. Stone dust. Field dust. Dry wind carried from far deserts. He spent his younger years hauling baskets of mud and stone. Later, he shaped bricks beneath the burning sun. Now his hands tremble when he lifts even small things. His knees no longer bend easily. His breathing is slower, more careful. Beside him, his wife sleeps soundly. Her face is peaceful. Her hands folded gently over her stomach. The old man looks toward the small doorway. A line of moonlight stretches across the floor. He watches it for a long time. The packed earth beneath him feels cool through his linen mat. It comforts him. The same earth he worked his whole life. The same earth that fed his children. The same earth that built these walls. There is something peaceful in that. Something steady. Eventually, his eyes grow heavy. And he sleeps again. At the edge of the village, closer to the riverbank, a fisherman sits alone beside his small reed boat. He has already eaten. His family sleeps behind him in their quiet home. But he remains outside. The night belongs to him for a little while longer. His fishing net lies spread beside him. Under moonlight, he repairs a tier with careful fingers. The net smells of water and river weeds. His hands move without thought. Loop. Pull. Tighten. Again. The same motions he learned as a child beside his father. The same motions his own son is beginning to learn. The Nile before him is black and silver. Its surface shifts softly. Small ripples catch the moon. Reeds sway near the shore. Frogs call from hidden places. Somewhere in the distance, a bird lifts suddenly from the water. Its wings make a quiet rushing sound. Then silence returns. The fisherman pauses. He lifts his eyes. Across the water, he sees only shadows. Palm trees. Dark banks. A few distant lights. He knows this river well. Its moods. Its dangers. Its generosity. He has seen it flood. Seen it rise over the fields. Seen it leave rich black soil behind. He has seen boats disappear in sudden storms. Seen fish vanish for weeks. Seen hungry seasons. Seen abundance. The Nile gives. The Nile takes. And still it flows. Always. He finishes his repair. Folds the net neatly. Places it inside the boat. Tomorrow, before sunrise, he will return. But not yet. For now, he sits quietly, letting the cool air rest against his tired skin. In another part of the village, a baker is already awake. His sleep has ended early. It often does. Long before dawn, his work begins. Inside his small baking room, darkness surrounds him except for one small oil lamp. Its flame flickers against clay walls. His grinding stone waits. The grain sacks are stacked in corners. The air smells of flour and ash. He kneels. Pours grain into the mill. And begins to turn the heavy stone. Slowly. Steadily. The sound is soft. A low circular scraping. Grain becoming flour. Again and again. His shoulders tighten. His arms strain. This is hard work. Quiet work. Necessary work. Soon the village will wake. And there must be bread. Fresh bread for laborers. Fresh bread for children. Fresh bread for servants carrying meals to wealthier homes. He wipes sweat from his forehead. Even in the cool darkness, the labor warms him. Outside, the stars still shine brightly. But the eastern horizon has begun to pale. Only slightly. The smallest hint of what is coming. A servant sleeps near the doorway of a wealthy household. She lies curled on a reed mat. Her sleep is light. She must rise when her mistress rises. She dreams of water. Of standing waist deep in the Nile, laughing with her sisters before she was sent here to work. The dream feels cool, bright, free. But footsteps inside the house stir her. Her eyes open. Only for a moment. The household is still asleep. She closes them again. One more moment of rest. One more small piece of peace. Nearby, in a narrow alley between homes, a stray dog moves silently. Its paws make no sound on the packed earth. It sniffs near a basket. Near a doorway. Near an abandoned fish bone. The village belongs partly to such creatures at night. Cats. Dogs. Small desert mice. They move where humans sleep. They search. They survive. They know every shadow. They disappear when morning comes. The moon begins to sink. The stars slowly dim. The night is changing. Still quiet. Still gentle. But no longer fully asleep. On a rooftop, a young boy wakes suddenly. For a moment, he does not know why. He lies still. The mat beneath him rough against his skin. The blanket tangled around his legs. He hears the river. He hears the wind. He hears his father snoring softly nearby. And then he knows. It is the coolness. The beautiful coolness that comes just before dawn. He smiles in the darkness. It is his favorite moment. Before the heat returns. Before chores begin. Before voices rise. For now, the village feels different. Almost suspended. He sits up slowly. Looks across the rooftops. Some people still sleep. Others are beginning to stir. A woman adjusting a blanket. A man stretching tired limbs. Someone climbing down a ladder quietly. The boy looks east. A pale silver line now rests on the horizon. Soon the sky will brighten. Soon birds will call. Soon sandals will scrape against stone. Soon the first bread will come from the oven. He lies back down. Only for a few moments more. His eyes close again. The cool breeze touches his face. And the village breathes together. Slow. Peaceful. Ancient. Inside one home, a scribe wakes before the others. His sleep was short. His duties begin early. Today there will be more records. More measurements. More careful writing. He sits up. His neck aches from the wooden headrest. His fingers are stiff. He rubs them gently. Then reaches for a small clay cup of water left beside him. The water is no longer cool. But it refreshes him. He steps outside. The sky is now deep blue. The stars fading. The village before sunrise feels almost sacred. No shouting. No labor. Only waiting. He stands quietly. Breathing. Listening. Somewhere nearby, grain is being ground. He hears the circular stone. He hears a goat shifting in its pen. He hears someone whispering morning prayers. Simple words. Soft words. Words carried upward into the fading night. The scribe closes his eyes briefly. Not in prayer. Only gratitude for stillness. Even his work, so careful and demanding, can wait a little longer. For one small moment, he simply stands. Bare feet on cool earth. Wind against his face. The Nile breathing nearby. The first bird calls. A single clear sound. Then another. And another. The village begins to wake. Not suddenly. Not all at once. But slowly. As though sleep is being folded away. A woman lifts a water jar onto her shoulder. A baker opens his oven. A fisherman unties his boat. A child rubs sleep from tired eyes. A servant sweeps yesterday's dust from a doorway. A farmer stretches aching muscles before returning to the fields. The sky brightens. Soft gold touches the tops of palm trees. The Nile catches the first light. Silver becomes gold. The dark water begins to glow. And the long quiet evening has passed gently into another ancient morning. But the peace remains. The same peace carried in the slow river. The same peace resting in mud walls and worn sandals. The same peace hidden inside ordinary lives. Lives built from work. From routine. From fatigue. From bread and water. From dust and river air. From sleep and waking. And as the village stirs once more, the calm of night lingers just a little longer. A final cool breath. A final shadow. A final moment before the heat returns. The first light of morning spreads slowly across the village. It does not arrive all at once. It moves gently over the Nile, touching the water first. The river begins to shimmer. Soft gold ripples across its surface. The reeds along the banks glow at their edges. The dark shapes of fishing boats become clear again. Their ropes pull quietly against wooden posts. The water laps against mud and stone. Steady. Patient. As it always has. The coolness of night is still present, but already it is beginning to fade. The air is changing. Soon the warmth will return. Soon the heavy sun will rise higher. But for now, the village enjoys these precious moments between darkness and heat. A farmer steps outside his home. He is barefoot. The packed earth beneath him still feels cool. He pauses before moving farther. His body is not ready yet. His muscles are stiff from yesterday. His shoulders ache from carrying tools. His hands are rough and sore. When he lifts his arms, his joints feel slow. He stretches carefully. The movement is small. A bend of the neck. A roll of the shoulders. A slow breath. Then another. Inside the house, his wife is already awake. She kneels beside the grinding stone. Her hands press firmly against its surface. Round and round it turns. The grain beneath it becomes finer with every pass. The sound fills the room. A low scraping. Soft and steady. One of the first sounds of every morning. Their youngest child still sleeps nearby. Curled beneath a linen cloth. The child's breathing is slow. One small hand rests open beside his face. Dust clings faintly to his toes. Yesterday he ran through the narrow lanes until his legs gave out. Today he will do the same. But not yet. For now, sleep still holds him. The woman pauses her grinding for a moment. She wipes her forehead. Even now, before sunrise, small beads of warmth are beginning to gather there. The labor has already begun. And the day has barely opened. Outside, another family gathers near a clay jar filled with water. The father pours a little into his hands. He washes his face. The water is cool. He lets it sit on his skin for a moment before wiping it away. It feels like a gift. Simple. Temporary. Necessary. His daughter waits beside him, holding a smaller cup. She drinks slowly. Her eyes are still heavy. Her hair is tangled from sleep. Soon she will help carry baskets. Soon she will sweep. Soon she will help her mother prepare vegetables and knead dough. But now, she simply watches the light change. The eastern sky has become pale gold. Palm leaves stir overhead. Birds move between branches. Their songs are soft but growing louder. One by one, doors open. One by one, people step outside. The village unfolds. Not with noise. Not with urgency. But with routine. A servant sweeps dust from a threshold. A merchant lifts a wooden shutter. A potter checks the drying clay outside his workshop. A fisherman shoulders his net. A builder wraps linen around blistered palms. Each movement is familiar. Each task expected. No one wonders what the day will bring. They already know. Labor. Heat. Fatigue. Small moments of shade. Small moments of water. Small moments of rest. And then, when the sun lowers again, another quiet evening. That is enough. That is life. The baker removes the first loaves from the oven. Warm bread fills the air with its rich and comforting scent. People passing nearby breathe it in. Some smile without thinking. Bread is more than food. It is the shape of every day. The beginning and ending of labor. The promise that the household will eat. The baker places the flat rounds onto woven trays. Steam rises. The crust is golden in places, darker in others. A child nearby waits eagerly. The baker tears off a small edge and hands it over. The child accepts it with both hands. The bread is hot. Too hot. She laughs softly and shifts it from palm to palm. Then blows on it. Then takes a careful bite. Her eyes close. Warm grain. Simple comfort. Nearby, smoke rises from other ovens. The village smells of baking flour and ash. Of crushed herbs. Of damp clay. Of river air. The Nile remains close. Always close. A group of fishermen now moves toward the water. Their sandals press into the moist earth near the riverbank. The mud is cool between their toes where their feet slip from leather straps. They carry baskets. They carry nets. One man carries a long wooden pole over his shoulder. They speak quietly. Not because they must. But because morning still feels fragile. The quiet has not yet fully disappeared. Their boats wait. Small. Light. Made from reeds and wood. The water rocks them gently. The men step in carefully. The boats dip. Then steady. Ropes are untied. Oars touch water. Soft splashes. Circles spreading outward. Soon they drift away from shore. Into the slow current. Toward places where fish gather beneath the reeds. A young boy stands on the riverbank watching his father leave. He wishes to go too. But he is not old enough. Not yet. His task today is different. He will help in the fields. He will carry water. He will pull weeds. He will learn the patience of growing things. The boy watches until the boat becomes smaller. Then he turns away. His own day has begun. In a nearby workshop, the potter presses wet clay between his palms. The earth is cool and soft. His hands know exactly how much pressure to use. He shapes bowls. Storage jars. Small cups. Lamps. Things every household needs. The wheel turns slowly, round and round. His fingers guide the rising form. The clay listens. It responds. The workshop smells rich and damp. Earth and water mixed together. A peaceful smell. Outside, rows of finished pots dry in the growing light. Soon they will harden. Later they will be fired. Then carried into homes. Filled with grain. With oil. With water. With beer. Ordinary objects. Silent companions to ordinary lives. The heat begins to rise. It happens almost unnoticed at first. A warmth on the arms. A heavier stillness in the air. The cool breeze from the Nile grows weaker. People feel it. They know what is coming. Their movements change. Faster now. Tasks must be done before midday. Farmers gather tools. Wooden hoes. Woven baskets. Bundles of seedlings. They begin walking toward the fields. Dust rises around their feet. The path is familiar. Every stone known. Every turn expected. The fields wait beyond the village. Dark and fertile. Gifted by the Nile's flooding. The earth there is soft. Rich. Alive. But it demands labor. Hours of bending. Planting. Pulling. Carrying. Sweat falling into the soil. Hands blackened with mud. Backs aching beneath the sun. Still they go. Without complaint. Without hurry. One step after another. A mother calls quietly to her son. He has fallen behind, distracted by a beetle crossing the path. She smiles. Only briefly. Then he runs to catch up. His small feet stirring dust. His laughter fading into the growing sounds of the day. At home, older grandparents remain behind. Their labor is different now. One mends linen with careful stitches. Another watches over younger children. Another prepares vegetables in the shade. Their hands are slower. Their bodies more fragile. But their presence is steady. They hold the household together. They remember old seasons. Old floods. Old names. Their stories move softly through the home like warm air. A little later, a servant girl carries a water jar from the river. Balanced carefully on her shoulder. Her path is long. The jar is heavy. The rim presses against her skin. Her arms ache. But she walks with practiced balance. Step by step. The water inside shifts gently. She can hear it. Feel it. A cool weight. A precious burden. Without it, there is no cooking. No washing. No drinking. No life. She reaches the household and lowers the jar carefully. Her back protests. She straightens slowly. Takes one deep breath. Then turns to go again. There will always be another jar. Another trip. Another task. The sun climbs higher. Shadows shorten. The village brightens. Dust glows pale beneath the light. The roofs grow warm. The walls begin to hold heat. The peaceful coolness of dawn has nearly disappeared. Yet traces of the quiet evening remain. In the memory of sleeping mats still rolled neatly. In the softness of footprints on rooftops. In the last faint coolness hidden inside shaded rooms. In the slow calm still resting on the Nile. The river remembers night even when the land forgets. And so the day continues. The ordinary day. The ancient day. The day that looks much like yesterday. And much like tomorrow. Work. Water. Bread. dust, river, shade, breathing, waiting for evening to return again. For now, the village belongs to labor. But somewhere, already, people are quietly longing for the hour when the sun will lower, when the ovens will glow, when sandals will come off tired feet, when children will grow sleepy, when oil lamps will flicker against mud walls, when the Nile will darken under moonlight, and the long quiet evening will return once more. By the time the sun has fully risen above the eastern edge of the Nile, the village has settled into the slow and demanding rhythm of labor. The quiet softness of dawn has folded itself away. The gentle coolness has disappeared from the open paths. Now the warmth gathers steadily. It settles first on the rooftops, then on the mud-brick walls, then across the narrow roads where sandals move through pale dust. The village seems to exhale. The day has truly begun. Beyond the homes, the fields stretch outward in careful rows. Dark earth lies rich beneath bare feet. The soil is still damp in places, holding the last gifts of the river's flood. Farmers bend low over the ground. Their backs curve toward the earth. Their hands move through mud and roots. They press seedlings into place. They pull stubborn weeds. They lift water from shallow channels and guide it gently where it is needed. No one speaks much. Words feel unnecessary. Breathing and movement are enough. The sounds here are simple. Hands brushing leaves. Water slipping over packed soil. The soft squish of wet ground beneath tired feet. A quiet cough. A slow sigh. A reed basket being lowered beside a row of plants. The sun climbs higher. Light gathers on shoulders. Sweat begins to shine on skin. A farmer wipes his brow with the edge of his linen cloth. It is already damp. He drinks a small mouthful of water from a clay cup. Not too much. Water must last. He lets the final drop sit on his tongue before swallowing. Then he kneels again. His knees press into warm earth. His hands return to their work. Not far away, his wife moves through another row. She carries a bundle of young onions tied with reed fiber. Her fingers place them carefully into the softened soil. Beside her, their daughter follows. The child's steps are slower. Her small hands are clumsy. Sometimes she plants too deep. Sometimes not deep enough. Her mother corrects her gently. No anger. Only patience. This is how learning happens. By watching. By repeating. By growing tired. The little girl brushes dirt from her knees. A strand of hair clings to her forehead. She looks toward the river. From here, she can just see it. A silver line in the distance. Quiet. Beautiful. She knows she will go there later. To wash her hands. To cool her feet. To fill a small water jar. The thought comforts her. Back in the village, the workshops are alive. The potter's wheel turns. The stonecutter lifts his hammer. The carpenter smooths rough wood with steady hands. The weaver sits cross-legged in the shade, guiding thread through a wooden frame. Each movement is practiced. Each task repeated so many times that the hands remember even when the mind drifts elsewhere. Inside a dim workshop, a scribe bends over fresh papyrus. The room is cooler than the fields. Its mud walls protect him from the strongest sun. Still, the air feels heavy. A small bead of sweat rolls slowly down his temple. He ignores it. His reed pen moves carefully. The black ink forms neat lines. Names. Numbers. Measurements. Deliveries of grain. Records of labor. A list of tools borrowed and returned. The work demands attention. Even one small mistake can cause trouble later. His fingers cramp. He stretches them. Flexes his wrist. Then writes again. Outside, footsteps pass by. Voices rise and fade. A merchant calls softly to a passing servant. A child laughs. Somewhere, a goat protests loudly for a moment. Then quiet returns. The scribe dips his pen again. His breathing remains slow. Steady. He works while others labor in sun. His burden is different. But it is still a burden. His shoulders ache from stillness. His eyes grow tired from staring. Even quiet work can wear down the body. At the riverbank, women gather with bundles of linen. Their feet sink slightly into the damp mud. The water is cool against their ankles. For a few moments, they simply stand there, letting the river wash away heat, letting the current brush against tired skin. Then the work begins. Cloth is dipped, lifted, twisted, pressed against smooth stones, rinsed again. The sounds are soft. Water splashing. Fabric slapping gently. Quiet conversation. A low laugh. A child calling from shore. One woman hums as she works. A small song. Barely above a whisper. Its melody moves with the river. Simple. Comforting. Ancient. Nearby, several children crouch in the shallows. Their hands search for smooth pebbles. For shells. For anything interesting hidden in the mud. They should be helping. Soon they will. But for now, they steal a few moments of play. One boy splashes his sister lightly. She gasps. Then laughs. The sound carries over the water. Bright but brief. Their mother glances at them. Her face stays serious. But her eyes soften. Even here, among endless tasks, small joy finds a place. Farther along the river, a fisherman returns earlier than expected. His catch was modest. A few fish glisten in a woven basket. Enough for supper. Enough to trade. He steps carefully from his boat. His legs feel unsteady for a moment. Hours on water make the earth feel strange. He pulls the boat farther onto shore. Ties it securely. Then sits. Only for a moment. His hands rest on his knees. His breathing slows. The Nile shines before him. Its surface brighter now under the strong sun. He watches the current. Always moving. Always passing. The river never rests. Perhaps that is why it comforts him. Its endless motion makes human fatigue feel smaller. Temporary. A passing thing. Soon he rises again. There is more to do. Fish to clean. Nets to mend. A roof beam at home that needs repair. The day is far from over. In the village, the baker's morning rush has ended. Most bread has been sold or traded. The ovens are quieter now. Only a faint warmth remains inside them. He sits in the shade beside the doorway. A cup of watered beer rests beside him. His tunic clings to his back. His arms are dusted white with flour. He closes his eyes for a moment. Not sleeping. Just resting. Listening. The village has changed since dawn. The sounds are sharper now. Tools striking wood. Voices calling. Sandals scraping stone. Animals shifting impatiently in their pens. The sun pressing down on everything. The baker takes another sip. The drink is cool enough. It soothes his throat. Across the street, an elderly woman sits beneath a woven shade. She is repairing a torn basket. Her fingers move slowly, carefully, reed by reed. Her hands are thin now, the skin delicate, but still skilled. Beside her, a small child naps on a folded linen cloth, one hand wrapped around a carved wooden toy. The child's breathing is deep, unafraid. The old woman smiles gently. She continues weaving. The shade protects them both. For a little while. Soon the heat will grow stronger. Soon everyone will seek shelter. The middle of the day approaches. The heaviest hours are near. People feel it. The sunlight turns sharper. The air grows still. Even the birds quiet themselves. Even the animals retreat toward shadow. Workers in the fields begin to glance toward home. Toward water. Toward shade. Their backs ache more deeply now. Their shoulders burn. Their feet are caked with drying mud. One farmer straightens slowly. He places a hand against the small of his back. He inhales. Long and careful. Then looks toward the village. In the distance, he can almost imagine the comfort waiting there. A shaded wall. A cool clay cup. A simple meal. Perhaps a few moments lying still on a reed mat. Listening to the soft hum of afternoon. Listening to the Nile. Always the Nile. The silent companion of every task. The witness to every weary step. The promise that evening will come again. That the heat will soften. That lamps will glow. That bread will bake. That families will gather. That tired bodies will rest. And so they continue. One more row. One more basket. One more hour beneath the ancient sun. Holding quietly inside them the memory of last night's calm. And the hope of tonight's quiet return. As the morning stretches into the middle of the day, the sun grows heavier. Its warmth is no longer gentle. It settles on the village with quiet certainty. The mud-brick walls, so cool during the night, begin to store the heat. The rooftops brighten beneath the strong light. The narrow paths between homes seem to glow with pale dust. The air itself feels slower now. Still. Thick. Even the breeze from the Nile becomes faint. Only now and then does it pass through the village, touching a shaded doorway or stirring the edge of a hanging cloth. People notice these small moments. They pause when they come. A breath. A brief coolness against the skin. Then it is gone. And the warmth remains. In the fields, the farmers continue their work, though their movements have slowed. Their tunics cling to their backs. Sweat darkens the linen at their shoulders and chest. Their sandals are damp from irrigation channels. Mud has dried in thin layers along their ankles. One man kneels to pull weeds from around a row of barley. His fingers move carefully, separating the unwanted growth from the tender green stalks. He works with patience. Pull. Shake away the soil. Drop the wheat into a basket. Again. 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 The rhythm is calming. It allows the mind to drift. His thoughts are quiet. Not on distant things. Not on grand hopes. Only on small comforts. Cool water waiting in a clay jar. A shaded wall to lean against. Fresh bread torn into soft pieces. The sound of his children speaking softly in the evening. The feeling of lying down at last. These thoughts help him continue. Nearby, his wife rises from her work and stretches slowly. Her lower back aches. Her hands are stained dark with soil. She looks toward the sky. The sun is nearly overhead. Soon they will rest. Not for long. But enough. A short pause in the shade. A little food. A little water. A little stillness. It will be enough. In the village, many homes have become quiet. The morning tasks are mostly complete. Bread has been baked. Water jars are filled. Animals have been fed. Floors have been swept. Children who were once energetic now move more slowly. The heat asks this of everyone. It softens voices. It shortens steps. It encourages silence. Inside one home, a grandmother sits near the doorway where a narrow strip of shade falls across the floor. She shells beans into a woven basket. Her hands move steadily. The basket slowly fills. Her granddaughter sits beside her, leaning against the cool wall. The child traces patterns in the dust with one finger. Circles. Lines. Small shapes that mean nothing. The grandmother watches her. Then smiles. She begins to tell a quiet story. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Only a gentle voice moving through warm air. A story about the river long ago. About a fisherman who followed the stars. About a flood that brought rich black earth to dry land. The child listens. Her eyes grow heavy. The voice of her grandmother mixes with the distant sounds of the village. A donkey shifting in its shade. A pot being moved. The faint call of a merchant. The soft flutter of birds settling beneath palm leaves. The story becomes part of the afternoon itself. Slow. Warm. Sleepy. At the riverbank, several women sit with their feet in the water. Their washing is done. The linen now hangs nearby, draped across ropes and reeds, drying in the bright sun. For a few moments, they rest. Their skirts are damp at the edges. Their hands are cool from the river. One woman dips her hands into the Nile and lifts water to her neck. It runs slowly down her skin. She closes her eyes. The relief is immediate. Another woman leans back on her hands, looking out across the water. Small boats drift in the distance. The reeds whisper softly. Dragonflies hover above the surface. Everything seems slower here. The river has its own time. It does not hurry. It does not strain. It simply moves. And those who live beside it often borrow some of that calm. One of the women speaks quietly. The others nod. Their conversation is simple. A sick child who seems better today. A husband whose sandals need mending. A basket of dates brought by a cousin from another village. Small things. Important things. Their voices remain low. There is no energy for loud words. Not beneath this sun. Farther back in the village, the workshops have quieted as well. The potter has stopped his wheel. The carpenter has set down his tools. The scribe has rolled his shoulders and stepped away from his work. Even labor must bend to the heat of midday. Inside his dim room, the scribe lies on a reed mat. His writing tools rest beside him. Papyrus carefully covered. Ink protected from dust. He closes his eyes. The silence inside the room is deep. The thick walls block much of the outside noise. Only faint sounds reach him. The occasional footstep. A distant voice. The murmur of the Nile. His fingers still feel the memory of the reed pen. His wrist aches. His neck is stiff. He places a folded cloth beneath his head. The coolness of the floor beneath the mat eases his body. He does not sleep fully. Only drifts. Half awake. half resting. A small and necessary pause. Elsewhere, a servant girl carries a tray into the shaded courtyard of a wealthy household. On the tray are simple foods. Bread. Sliced cucumbers. A small bowl of lentils. A cup of watered beer. She moves carefully. Her arms tremble slightly from the weight. Not because it is heavy, but because she is tired. She has been moving since before dawn. Sweeping. Carrying. Grinding. Fetching. Serving. Always another task. Always another request. She places the tray gently on a low table. Bows her head. Then steps back into the shadow. For a moment, she leans against the cool wall. Only for a breath. Only for the comfort of stillness. Then she straightens and continues. In the shade of a date palm, a group of laborers rests before returning to construction work. Their tools lie beside them. Stone hammers. Wooden levers. Lengths of rope. Their hands are rough and scarred. Dust clings to their skin. One man pours water into a shared clay cup and passes it carefully. Each drinks. Slowly. Respectfully. No one takes too much. One worker tears bread into pieces and shares it among the others. No one speaks for several moments. They simply eat. Chew. Swallow. Breathe. The shade protects them. But only barely. Beyond its edge, the sunlight burns white against the ground. One man lies back and closes his eyes. He can hear insects in the dry grass. He can hear a pigeon somewhere nearby. He can hear the distant sound of children laughing by the river. And beneath it all, he can hear his own breathing slowing. He wishes he could remain here. Beneath this tree. In this shade. For the rest of the day. But he cannot. Soon the work will begin again. Stone must be lifted. Walls must rise. Orders must be followed. The body must endure. The village itself seems to rest during these hours. Doors are partly closed. Animals lie still in narrow strips of shadow. Cats sleep curled beneath benches. Even the dogs are quiet. The dust has settled. Nothing stirs unless it must. And through this quiet, the Nile continues to move. Its surface bright beneath the midday sun. Its banks lined with reeds and footprints. Its waters carrying coolness no hand can fully hold. Somewhere along its edge, a young boy skips smooth stones across the surface. 1, 2, 3 small jumps. Then the stone sinks. He smiles. Then sits beneath a palm tree, his feet in the mud. His chores can wait for one more minute. One more quiet moment. One more chance to listen to the water. The day is far from over. The hardest heat has not yet passed. But already, people begin to think of evening. Not directly. Not in words. But in quiet hopes. The return of shadows. The softening of light. The smell of bread baking again. The sound of footsteps returning home. The comfort of cool water on tired hands. The lifting of sandals from sore feet. The first lamp being lit. The first stars appearing above the river. And the long quiet evening, waiting patiently, just beyond the heat. The middle of the day settles heavily over the village. The sun stands high and still. Its light falls straight down onto rooftops, courtyards, and dusty roads. There are few shadows now. Only narrow strips beneath walls. Thin lines under baskets. Small circles beneath the feet of resting stools. People move carefully between them, following shade where they can. The air feels slow, warm, almost unmoving. Even the sounds of the village seem softer, as though the heat itself has asked everyone to speak quietly. A farmer returns briefly from the fields. His tunic is dark with sweat. Dust clings to his calves. His sandals are stiff with dried mud. He enters his home and lowers himself onto a reed mat near the doorway. The floor beneath him feels cool. He closes his eyes. Not to sleep, only to let his body settle. His breathing is deep, measured. His chest rises and falls with effort. Beside him, his wife places a small clay cup into his hand. Water, cool from the shaded jar. He drinks slowly, one careful sip at a time. The water tastes of river clay. A little sweet, a little earthy. Perfect. He holds the empty cup in both hands. For a few moments, he does nothing else. No speaking. No thinking. Only sitting. Only resting. Across the room, his youngest child sleeps in the dimness. The little one lies on a folded linen cloth. One arm stretched above the head. Tiny fingers curled loosely. The child's face shines with the faint warmth of afternoon. A small fly lands nearby and lifts away again. The room is peaceful. The thick mud walls hold back much of the heat. The silence feels soft. Outside, the world waits. But in here, for a few precious moments, time seems to stop. In another home, a woman needs fresh dough for the evening bread. Though supper is still far away, the work must begin early. Her hands press and fold. Press and fold. The dough is warm beneath her palms. Soft and heavy. Flour dust clings to her wrists. The bowl is large and made of fired clay. Its rim is worn smooth by many years of use. This same bowl has held countless loaves, countless meals, countless evenings. Beside her, an older daughter fans a small cooking fire. The flames are low. The smoke rises slowly toward a small opening above. It gathers briefly beneath the ceiling before slipping outside. The smell fills the room. Ash. Warm grain. Dry wood. The daughter's eyes grow heavy from the heat. But her hands continue. Back and forth. Back and forth. The simple movement is calming. Almost like breathing. In the shaded workshop of a carpenter, wood curls gather on the floor. Thin ribbons of pale cedar. The carpenter runs his hand across a finished stool, checking for roughness. His fingers are sensitive. They notice what the eyes might miss. A small splinter. A sharp edge. A place needing one more pass. He smooths it carefully. The scent of fresh cut wood surrounds him. It is different from the smells of dust and bread and river mud. Cleaner. Dry. Almost sweet. He likes this smell. It reminds him of quiet hours. Of work done with patience rather than force. He places the stool beside others waiting to be delivered. Simple pieces. Made for sitting. For resting tired legs at the end of the day. Objects meant for comfort. Small comforts matter here. They always have. Outside, the village animals are still. Goats lie in narrow patches of shade. Their eyes half closed. Their jaws moving slowly as they chew. A donkey stands beneath a palm tree, its head lowered. Even the chickens move less now. They scratch lazily at the ground. Then settle. The heat has made everyone quiet. Even the smallest creatures. At the edge of the village, the Nile offers relief. Several children stand ankle-deep in the shallows. Their chores are nearly done for the moment. They splash water over their arms, their faces, their necks. The coolness makes them laugh softly, not loudly. Even joy feels gentler beneath the sun. One small boy crouches low and presses both hands into the wet mud. He shapes a tiny boat. A simple little form. Crooked. Uneven. Perfect. He sets it carefully on the water. For a moment, it floats. Then slowly tips and sinks. The boy watches it disappear. Then smiles. And begins again. Nearby, an elderly fisherman sits beneath a woven reed shelter. His boat is tied beside him. His nets spread across his lap. He mends them patiently. Thread through knot. Pull tight. Thread through knot. Pull tight. The same motion. Again and again. His hands no longer move quickly. Age has slowed them. But they are precise. They do not waste effort. His eyes lift now and then to the river. He watches the current. He watches drifting leaves. He watches sunlight dance on the water. This is his afternoon. Not in the fields. Not in the workshop. But here. Near the water that has shaped his entire life. The Nile has given him food. Given him work. Given him hardship. Given him peace. Its sounds are familiar enough to become part of his own breathing. The soft lapping at the shore. The rustle of reeds. The distant splash of another boat. He feels calmer here. As though the river itself carries away some of his fatigue. Farther inland, in the shaded corner of a courtyard, a grandmother braids a young girl's hair. The child sits between her knees. Quiet. Still. The grandmother's fingers separate each strand carefully. Twist. Cross. Tighten. Twist again. The girl's eyes are closed. The gentle pulling feels soothing. Around them, afternoon rests. The courtyard walls hold the shade. A clay jar sweats cool drops of water. A folded linen cloth hangs from a rope. Somewhere above, a pigeon coos softly from a rooftop. The grandmother hums. A low, steady melody. The same melody she once hummed to her own daughters. Now to this child. The song has no urgency. No beginning or ending. Only comfort. Only familiarity. In a small room nearby, the village scribe has returned to his work. The short rest has helped. But only a little. His eyes still feel tired. His fingers still ache. Yet the records must be finished. He unrolls the papyrus. Straightens it carefully. Dips his reed pen into ink. The room is quiet except for the faint scratching of pen against surface. A beautiful sound. Soft. The desert was still warm. Measured. His handwriting remains steady. Even now. Even in the heat. Outside, someone walks past carrying a basket of figs. Their sweet scent drifts briefly into the room. Then fades. The scribe pauses. He listens. To footsteps. To birds. To the river. To his own breathing. Then writes another line. And another. Time moves differently in the afternoon. More slowly. The sun seems unwilling to move. The shadows barely shift. People glance upward. Waiting. Not impatiently. Only hopefully. Soon the light will begin to soften. Soon the hottest hours will pass. Soon movement will become easier. Soon the evening work will begin. Water to carry. Meals to prepare. Animals to gather. Children to call home. And after that, the long quiet return. The cooling walls. The lamps. The bread. The soft voices. The stars above the Nile. Everyone feels it approaching. Even now. Even while the heat remains. A woman at the river wrings out the last piece of linen and looks west. The sun is still bright. Still strong. But perhaps, just slightly, its edge feels less sharp. A laborer in the shade adjusts his sandals and notices a longer shadow beside him. A baker checks his flour and begins preparing for the next fire. A child wakes from an afternoon nap and hears the distant sound of someone sweeping a doorway. Small signs. Quiet signs. The day is beginning to bend. Slowly. Gently. Toward evening once more, the afternoon begins to loosen its hold. Very slowly, almost too gently to notice, the light starts to change. The sun still shines brightly over the Nile village. Its warmth still presses against walls and skin and stone. But something softer has entered the air. A quiet promise. The hardest heat has begun to pass. Long shadows return one small step at a time. They stretch from doorways. They gather beneath carts and stools. They reach slowly across the dusty paths between homes. People feel this change before they fully see it. Their bodies sense it. Their breathing becomes easier. Their shoulders lower. Their movements begin again. Across the fields, farmers straighten their backs. Many have been bent over since morning. Now they rise carefully, one by one, pressing hands against aching hips. They stand in silence, looking out over rows of grain and vegetables. The dark earth beneath their feet is warm, drying now where water once flowed through narrow channels. One farmer wipes his forehead with a linen cloth already heavy with sweat. He drinks the last of his water. Only a few small drops remain in the clay cup. He lets them linger on his tongue. Then exhales slowly. The air still feels warm, but it no longer feels endless. There is comfort in that. His wife gathers empty baskets. Their daughter kneels to pull the final weeds from one small corner of the field. The child moves more slowly now. Fatigue has settled into her small arms. Her knees are stained with soil. Her hair clings softly to her temples. Yet she continues. Careful. Quiet. Learning the patient strength of daily labor. Soon they will walk home. Not yet. But soon. The thought moves gently through all of them. Like a cool current beneath warm water. At the river, fishermen begin returning once more. Their boats drift toward shore in the late afternoon light. The Nile reflects the lowering sun. Its surface no longer bright and sharp, but softer now. Gold and bronze. Warm colors moving over slow water. An older fisherman guides his boat with practiced hands. His arms are tired. His fingers sore from pulling nets. But his face is calm. Today's catch is modest. A few silver fish lie in a woven basket beside him. Enough. Enough is often all that is hoped for. The boat touches mud. He steps carefully into the shallows. Cool water surrounds his ankles. The feeling makes him pause. He closes his eyes for one brief moment. The river moves around him, washing away some of the day's heat, some of the dust, some of the heaviness in his legs. Nearby, a younger fisherman laughs softly with his brother as they untangle their nets. Their voices are low, gentle. The sound mixes with splashing water and rustling reeds. A bird calls somewhere hidden among the river plants. The reeds answer with quiet movement. Everything feels calmer now. The Nile itself seems to breathe more deeply. Back in the village, doorways begin to fill with life again. People emerge from shaded interiors. From afternoon rest. From small moments of stillness. A woman shakes dust from a woven mat. A merchant reopens his wooden shutters. A child rubs sleep from tired eyes and steps barefoot into the warm street. The dust feels soft beneath his feet. Not hot anymore. Only warm. Comforting. He looks up. The sky has changed. The bright white glare of midday has softened into pale gold. Palm leaves move gently overhead. A breeze has returned. At first, only a whisper. But enough to lift the edge of hanging linen. Enough to carry the scent of river water into the narrow lanes. Enough to make people pause and smile. A baker kneels beside his clay oven. He feeds fresh pieces of wood into the fire. The flames wake slowly. Orange light flickers inside the dark opening. Soon bread will bake again. The evening meal must be prepared. The smell of flour already lingers in the air. Warm grain. Dry ash. Familiar comfort. His hands move with calm certainty. He has done this thousands of times. Every evening shaped by the same small rituals. Gather the wood. Prepare the dough. Test the heat. Wait. The waiting is part of it. It always has been. In a nearby courtyard, a servant girl draws water from a clay jar. She pours it slowly over her hands. Then over her wrists. Then lifts a little to her face. The coolness makes her close her eyes. She has been moving since before dawn. Her body feels heavy. Her feet ache. The skin on her palms is rough. But now, for just a moment, there is peace. Only the sound of water. Only the evening breeze. Only her own breathing slowing. She hears children laughing nearby. She hears someone calling for goats to return. She hears sandals brushing softly across stone. The village is waking again. Not into labor, but into homecoming. Farmers begin to return from the fields. Their tools rest across tired shoulders. Their steps are slow. Dust rises around their ankles. Their clothes smell of sun and soil. They move in small groups. Some speaking quietly. Some saying nothing at all. Words are not always needed after such a day. One father reaches the doorway of his home. His young son runs to greet him. The child wraps small arms around his leg. The father smiles. Tired, but genuine. He rests one rough hand gently on the child's head. No words. Only touch. Only presence. Only relief at being home. Inside the house, his wife prepares lentils over a small fire. The smell fills the room. Warm and earthy. Bread dough rests nearby. The evening meal is beginning to take shape. Simple food. Necessary food. Food that restores. Outside, the village paths are alive now. Children carry bundles of reeds. Women return with water jars balanced on their shoulders. Merchants count the final trades of the day. An elderly woman sweeps dust from her doorway. Slow strokes. Back and forth. The dust gathers into soft lines. Her movements are calm. Unhurried. As if she, too, is preparing her small corner of the world for night. In the carpenter's workshop, the final sounds of tools echo softly. Wood against wood. A last smoothing. A final inspection. Then quiet. He places his finished stool beside the others. Tomorrow it will be delivered. Tonight it will rest. Like everything else. Even objects seem to pause in the evening. Even tools seem ready for stillness. At the river's edge, a mother washes her child's feet. Mud and dust disappear into the Nile. The child watches the water carry them away. Tiny clouds of brown dissolving into the current. The mother's hands are gentle. Careful. The child leans against her knee. Tired. Ready for food. Ready for sleep. The sky deepens further. Gold becomes amber. Amber begins to soften toward rose. The first shadows of evening gather in the corners of the village. Lamps are not yet lit. But soon they will be. Soon the ovens will glow brighter. Soon smoke will rise in thin quiet lines. Soon voices will lower. Soon sandals will be removed. Soon reed mats will be unrolled. And above all of it, the Nile will darken again. Its surface turning from gold to silver. Its quiet waters reflecting the first stars. The village can feel it coming. Everyone can. The return of the long quiet evening. The most peaceful part of the day. The time when tired muscles finally release. When children grow quiet. When bread is shared. When the breeze cools the skin. When the desert sky opens wide above the sleeping roofs. For now, the light continues to soften. The day folds itself gently toward rest. And the Nile waits beside it all. Steady. Silent. Patient. Ready to carry another ancient evening into the night. The sun lowers slowly toward the far edge of the western land. Its light stretches across the Nile in long bands of gold. The water gathers those colors and carries them gently downstream. Every ripple seems softer now. Every movement of the river quieter. The village feels this change in its bones. The day is beginning to let go. Warm air still lingers between the homes. The mud-brick walls still hold the memory of heat. But the sharp edge of afternoon has faded. Now there is only softness. Soft light. Soft footsteps. Soft voices. The dusty roads glow with the last warmth of the sun. Sandals pass over them in slow, familiar patterns. A father carries a bundle of reeds on one shoulder. A daughter walks beside him, holding a small basket of onions gathered from the field. Her steps are tired. She stumbles once. Then steadies herself. He glances down and smiles. No words are needed. They are both ready for home. Around them, others return as well. Farmers. Builders. Servants. Merchants. Their days have been different, but their fatigue feels the same. Dust on the skin. A dryness in the throat. A heaviness in the arms and legs. A quiet longing for water. For food. For stillness. For the gentle comfort of familiar walls. At the riverbank, the final washing of the day is underway. Women kneel at the edge of the Nile. Their skirts gathered carefully. Their hands dip cloth into the cool water. Lift. Twist. Rinse. Again. The movements are slower now than they were in the morning. The work feels less urgent. There is no rush. The day has already given what it could. One woman pauses and lowers both hands into the river. She lets the coolness spread through her fingers. Through her wrists. Through her tired arms. She watches the water move around her hands. Small circles. Tiny currents. Endless motion. Nearby, a child fills a small clay cup and drinks deeply. Water runs down his chin. He laughs quietly, then wipes it away with the back of his hand. The river gives relief, not only to the body, but to the spirit. It always has. The reeds whisper in the evening breeze. Birds call to one another as they settle into hidden nests. Their sounds drift across the water. Brief. Familiar. Soon they too will fall silent. Back in the village, smoke begins to rise. Thin gray lines climbing into the fading sky. Cooking fires are being lit. One by one. Small flames flicker inside clay ovens. Orange light dances across mud walls. The smell of bread returns. Warm and rich. It spreads through the streets, mixing with the scent of lentils, roasted fish, crushed herbs, wood smoke. Even before food is served, the village begins to feel comforted. A baker presses fresh dough against the hot inner wall of his oven. His hands move quickly, confidently. The bread will cook fast. Nearby, his son fans the fire. Back and forth. Back and forth. His young arms are tired, but steady. The flames respond. The oven glows brighter. The baker smiles. Not because of the work, but because evening has come. And evening always brings a kind of peace. In a shaded courtyard, a grandmother sits on a low stool. Her hands shell peas into a woven bowl. Beside her, two small children lean against one another. Their heads heavy with sleep. They try to stay awake, to listen to her quiet voice. She tells them a simple story. About a boat on the Nile. About stars reflected in dark water. About a traveler who followed the river home. Her words move slowly, softly, almost like a lullaby. The children's eyes blink more slowly. One begins to drift. The grandmother continues. Not because the story must be finished, but because the sound of her voice itself is comforting. In another home, a laborer removes his sandals at the doorway. His feet are sore, dusty. The skin along his heels is cracked. He lowers himself carefully onto a reed mat. His wife brings a shallow basin of water. Without speaking, he places his feet inside. Coolness spreads upward. Immediate relief. He exhales. Long and slow. The water clouds with dust. The day washing away. Nearby, their daughter kneads dough with both hands. Her small fingers press deeply. The dough pushes back. She smiles at the feeling. Warm. Soft. Alive. Her mother guides her gently. A little more water. A little more flour. Slowly. Patiently. The same lessons passed down again. Evening is a time for these quiet teachings. Simple things. Necessary things. Across the village, merchants close their stalls. Wooden shutters fold inward. Clay jars are sealed. Woven baskets are covered. Coins are counted. Trades remembered. Tomorrow will bring more. But not tonight. Tonight belongs to home. A carpenter lifts his finished tools and places them carefully inside a chest. He brushes sawdust from his tunic. The scent of cut wood clings to him. He steps outside and looks toward the river. The sky has deepened. Gold fading toward rose. Rose fading toward violet. The first star has appeared. Small. Bright. Steady. He notices it. Pauses. And for one quiet moment, simply watches. Many in the village do the same. The first star is always noticed. Not as a signal. Not as a command. Only as a gentle reminder. Night is coming. Rest is near. At the edge of the village, fishermen mend their nets beside low fires. The flames are small. Enough to see their hands. Enough to warm the evening air. Their fingers work through tangled fibers. Loop. Pull. Tighten. Again. Their voices are low. One tells a story from long ago. The others listen. Sometimes smiling. Sometimes saying nothing. The Nile lies beside them. Darkening. Its surface no longer gold. Now silver. Soon black. The river seems deeper at night. More mysterious. More peaceful. Its quiet belongs to those who remain awake long enough to hear it. Children begin to disappear indoors. Or onto rooftops. Their laughter fades. Their steps slow. One by one, they are called home. Meals are shared. Bread is broken. Fish is divided carefully. Lentils are spooned into small bowls. Hands reach. Voices murmur. Families gather close. No great speeches. No celebration. Only gratitude. Only hunger meeting comfort. Only tired people finding peace together. Above them, the sky continues to darken. Stars multiply. Soft and endless. The desert wind returns. Cooler now. It moves through open doorways. Across rooftops. Over sleeping mats being unrolled for the night. The mudbrick walls begin to release the day's stored warmth. The air becomes easier to breathe. Bodies relax. Shoulders loosen. Feet finally rest. The Nile flows beside it all. Unhurried. Silent. Its waters carrying moonlight now. Its edges lined with reeds and quiet shadows. The village is not yet asleep. But it is becoming still. The long quiet evening has arrived again. And slowly, gently, ancient Egypt begins to settle into another peaceful night. Night deepens slowly over the Nile village. The last traces of sunlight have faded from the tops of the mudbrick walls. The sky above is now wide and dark, filled with countless quiet stars. They shine clearly here, far from any bright flame except the small lamps and cooking fires that still glow softly inside homes and courtyards. The air feels different now. Cooler. Lighter. Easier to breathe. The warmth of the day has finally begun to leave the earth. It rises slowly from the stone paths and clay rooftops, drifting upward into the open night. People notice it in small ways. A hand resting against a wall no longer feels heat. Bare feet on packed earth feel comfort instead of warmth. The evening breeze moves more freely now. It slips through open doorways. It lifts the edge of linen curtains. It stirs loose strands of hair. It touches tired skin and brings quiet relief. Inside one home, a family finishes their meal. The last pieces of bread are torn and shared. A small bowl of lentils is passed from hand to hand. A roasted fish has been carefully divided so that each person has enough. No one speaks much. Not because they are unhappy. Only because the day has asked much from them. Words feel unnecessary after such long labor. Their bodies understand each other. Their silence feels gentle. Comfortable. The father leans back against the wall. His legs stretched before him. His feet are clean now. The dust of the fields washed away. His shoulders still ache. His hands still feel heavy. But something inside him has softened. The work is over. For today, that is enough. Beside him, his wife gathers the empty bowls. She moves slowly. There is no need to hurry. The child nearest her has already fallen asleep, head resting against her side. She smiles. Then carefully lifts the little one into her arms. The child stirs only slightly. Too tired to wake. She carries the small sleeping body toward a waiting reed mat. The child's breathing remains slow. Steady. Peaceful. Across the village, other families are doing the same. Preparing for sleep. Unrolling woven mats. Shaking dust from blankets. Adjusting linen cloths. Setting wooden headrests in place. A rooftop ladder creaks softly as someone climbs upward. Tonight many will sleep beneath the open sky. The roofs are still warm, but not too warm. Soon they will cool further. And above them, the stars will keep silent watch. A servant girl climbs carefully with folded bedding in her arms. Her feet know every rung of the ladder. She has climbed it countless evenings. At the top, she lays each mat in its familiar place. One for the household elders. One for the children. One for herself near the far edge, where the breeze feels strongest. She pauses. Straightens slowly. And looks toward the Nile. Moonlight has touched the water. A long silver path stretches across its surface. She watches it for a while. Saying nothing. Thinking nothing. Only breathing. Only resting her eyes on something beautiful after a long day. Below, she can hear quiet voices fading. A mother singing softly to a child. A pot being rinsed. Sandals being set beside a doorway. A goat shifting in its pen. Simple sounds. Even these are becoming fewer now. The village is folding inward. Toward sleep. Near the riverbank, a fisherman remains awake. His family sleeps already. But he sits outside beside his small boat. A low lamp burns near his feet. Its flame trembles in the breeze. His fishing net lies across his lap. There is a tear that must be repaired before morning. His fingers move slowly through the fibers. Loop. Pull. Tighten. Again. The motions are familiar enough to be almost effortless. His body works while his mind drifts. He listens to the water. The Nile sounds different at night. Softer. Deeper. The gentle touch of current against the shore. The faint movement of reeds. A fish breaking the surface somewhere in the dark. The distant call of a night bird. These sounds comfort him. They always have. The river feels like an old companion. Always present. Always patient. Always listening. He finishes the repair. Folds the net carefully. Places it inside the boat. Tomorrow he will rise before dawn. Tomorrow he will return to the water. But not yet. For now, he simply sits. The cool air on his face. The moonlight on the Nile. The weight of fatigue slowly leaving his shoulders. In a small room nearby, the village scribe rolls up his final papyrus. His lamp burns low. Its light flickers across neat rows of ink. Names. Numbers. Records of grain and labor. All complete for now. He places the papyrus carefully into a wooden box. Covers the ink. Sets down his reed pen. His fingers are stiff. His neck aches from bending. He rubs the back of his shoulders. Then blows gently across the lamp. The flame disappears. Darkness fills the room. Only moonlight remains. It enters through the small doorway. A pale silver line across the floor. He lies down on his reed mat. The wooden headrest feels familiar beneath his neck. hard. Simple. Enough. He closes his eyes. And listens. To the village. To the night. To the distant breathing of the Nile. In a courtyard, an elderly woman sits alone for a little while longer. She does not sleep early anymore. Age has changed her nights. She watches the stars. Her hands rest quietly in her lap. They no longer move with the speed they once had. But they are still strong. Still remembered by work. Grinding grain. Washing cloth. Holding children. Mending linen. Preparing bread. Decades of ordinary labor. She can hear the soft breathing of grandchildren sleeping nearby. It comforts her. She leans back. The night air cool against her skin. She looks upward. The stars feel endless. Ancient. Steady. The same stars she watched as a child. The same stars her parents watched. The same stars that shine over the Nile tonight. There is peace in that thought. A deep and quiet peace. Across the village, lamps go out. One by one. Small flames vanish into darkness. Doorways darken. Courtyards grow still. Only moonlight remains. And the faint silver glow of the river beyond. The village animals have settled too. Dogs curled near thresholds. Goats lying quietly. Birds hidden in palm trees. Even the insects seem softer now. Everything has slowed. Everything has surrendered to rest. On rooftops, families sleep beneath the open sky. Blankets rise and fall with quiet breathing. A child murmurs in sleep. A mother adjusts a linen cloth without waking. A father turns slightly and settles again. The breeze moves over them all. Cool. Gentle. Kind. And below, the Nile continues. Always moving. Always whispering. Its dark waters carry moonlight and memory. They carry the silence of ancient evenings. They carry the fatigue of countless workers. They carry the peace of ordinary lives finally at rest. The village sleeps. And the long quiet night stretches onward. Soft. Endless. Peaceful. The village sleeps beneath the quiet sky. The night has become still in the deepest way. Not silent, but full of soft sounds that belong only to these late hours. The Nile moves in darkness beside the village. Its waters are almost black now, except where moonlight touches them. There, small silver lines shimmer and disappear. The current presses gently against reeds and muddy banks. It never stops. It never hurries. It simply continues. Like breath. Like time. Like the quiet rhythm of life in this ancient place. On the rooftops, families rest on woven mats. Their blankets rise and fall slowly. A child sleeps with one hand curled beneath a cheek. A father lies on his back, one arm across his chest. A mother has turned toward the breeze, her face peaceful in the moonlight. No one speaks. No one stirs. The long labors of the day have dissolved into dreams. The body has finally released its burden. The hands that lifted tools now rest. The feet that crossed dusty roads are still. The shoulders that carried water and grain have softened. Even fatigue seems quieter here. As though the night itself has taken part of it away. A cool wind moves across the rooftops. It brushes over sleeping faces. It lifts the corners of linen cloth. It carries with it the scent of wet reeds and river mud. A faint sweetness from date palms. The fading smoke of cooking fires now long extinguished. The earth is cooling. The mud brick walls slowly release the warmth they gathered during the day. The stone beneath bare feet no longer burns. It comforts. It steadies. It welcomes rest. Near one doorway, a dog lifts its head. Its ears twitch. It listens. A distant splash from the river. The rustle of something moving through dry grass. Perhaps a small desert animal searching for food. Perhaps only the wind. The dog lowers its head again. Its eyes close. The village is safe. The night may continue. Inside a quiet home, an old man wakes for a brief moment. Age has made his sleep lighter. He opens his eyes into darkness. Moonlight slips through the doorway. A pale ribbon across the floor. Beside him, his wife sleeps deeply. Her breathing is slow. Steady. He listens. To her breathing. To the distant Nile. To the quiet village beyond the walls. He remembers other nights. Nights from many years ago. When he was young. When his hands were stronger. When his children were still small and slept close beside him. When his own parents still spoke softly in the next room. Those nights feel far away. And yet they feel near. The same river flowed beside them. The same stars watched above them. The same cool breeze touched their skin. There is comfort in the sameness. He closes his eyes again. And sleep returns gently. At the edge of the village, near the dark riverbank, the reeds whisper in the wind. Their tall stems bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. A patient movement. Hidden among them, small creatures stir. A frog slips quietly into the water. A bird shifts in its nest. Insects hum softly. The Nile gathers all of these sounds. Carries them outward. Carries them into the darkness. The fisherman's boat rests where it was tied earlier. Its rope creaks softly. Its wooden frame rocks against the shore. Tomorrow it will return to the river. Tomorrow nets will be cast. Hands will pull and lift and strain again. But tonight it floats in stillness. A simple vessel at rest. In another part of the village, a servant girl lies awake on a rooftop. Only for a little while. Sleep has not yet found her. She looks upward. The stars seem endless. Bright and cold against the dark sky. She traces them with her eyes. One cluster. Then another. She does not know all their names. She does not need to. It is enough to look. Enough to feel small beneath them. Enough to feel quiet. The breeze moves over her face. It cools the places where the day left its weight. Her aching feet. Her tired shoulders. Her rough hands folded over her stomach. Tomorrow she will rise before dawn. There will be water to carry. Floors to sweep. Bread to prepare. Tasks without end. But not now. Now there is only this. The sky. The stars. The river. The beautiful stillness between one day and the next. Her eyes begin to close. Slowly. The stars blur. Then disappear. And sleep takes her too. Inside the village, all lamps have gone dark. The last glowing coals have dimmed into ash. No voices remain. Only breathing. Only quiet. A baby sighs softly in sleep. A mother turns without waking. A reed mat shifts against the floor. A wooden headrest touches stone. Small sounds. Gentle sounds. The sounds of ordinary people deeply at rest. The village belongs to dreams now. Dreams of water. Dreams of cool shade. Dreams of full grain baskets. Dreams of healthy children. Dreams that are simple. Like life itself. Above, the moon moves slowly across the sky. Its pale light changes the shape of everything. The narrow roads look softer. The mud walls seem smoother. The palm trees become dark silhouettes. Their leaves whisper quietly. Even the Nile changes under moonlight. Its daytime brightness is gone. Now it feels deeper, older, almost mysterious, as though it remembers every person who has ever stood beside it. Every farmer, every baker, every fisherman, every child, every mother rocking a sleepy infant, every laborer washing dust from tired feet. The river remembers. And it continues. Steady. Silent. Faithful. Hours pass. The stars shift. The breeze grows cooler. Some pull blankets closer. Others turn toward the warmth still rising from the rooftops. No one fully wakes. The village remains wrapped in sleep. Safe within its mud walls. Held beside the river. Protected beneath the ancient sky. Soon, though not yet, the eastern horizon will begin to pale. The first birds will stir. The baker will wake. The fishermen will untie their boats. The grinding stones will turn. The sandals will return to dusty roads. Another day will begin. But for now, the Nile village rests. Breathing softly. Dreaming quietly. Floating in the calm heart of the night. And the river continues beside it. A slow black ribbon beneath the stars. Carrying moonlight. Carrying silence. Carrying the endless peace of another long quiet evening beside the Nile. The night moves onward in quiet layers. It is now the deepest part of darkness. The hour when even dreams seem still. The moon has climbed higher. Its pale light rests softly over the village rooftops, over the narrow empty paths, over the sleeping animals tucked close to walls and doorways. Everything feels covered in silver. The Nile reflects that same pale glow. Its gentle current bends and shifts around reeds and river stones, making soft sounds that only the quietest ears might notice. A slow brushing. A quiet folding of water against mud. A small ripple spreading outward and fading into darkness. No voices answer. No footsteps disturb the roads. The village sleeps deeply. And yet, life continues in small hidden ways. A baker stirs before dawn. Not fully awake at first. Only a slight movement beneath a linen covering. A turning of the head. A slow breath drawn more deeply. His body knows the hour before his mind does. Years of habit have taught him. Long before sunlight. Long before birdsong. Long before the first worker steps into the road. His eyes open. The darkness around him is familiar. For a moment, he does not move. He listens. The quiet tells him everything. The village still sleeps. The air is cool. The night has not yet begun to fade. But it will soon. He sits up slowly. His joints protest. His shoulders still remember yesterday's labor. His hands are stiff. Flour has settled deep into the small lines of his skin. He rubs his fingers together. Then reaches for his sandals. The floor beneath his feet is cold compared to the warmth of his mat. The feeling wakes him further. It is not unpleasant. Only honest. Only real. He steps outside. The sky above is rich with stars. The moon hangs lower now. Its light softer than before. He takes a long breath. The air smells of cooling earth. Of river water. Of extinguished fire. Of a village still resting. This is one of his favorite moments. The stillness before duty. The silence before effort. He walks toward his baking room. His footsteps are gentle. The dust does not rise much in the cool air. The door opens with a soft wooden sound. Inside, darkness waits. He lights a small oil lamp. A tiny flame appears. Its warm glow pushes back the shadows. Clay walls emerge. Flour sacks. Wood stacked carefully. The great round oven sleeping quietly in the corner. Soon it will burn again. Soon it will glow. Soon bread will fill the air with comfort. But not yet. First, there is preparation. Always preparation. He kneels beside the grinding stone. His hands move automatically. Grain into the basin. Hands on the heavy upper stone. And slowly, he begins to turn. The sound is soft. Circular. Stone against stone. Grain becoming flour. The first sound of the new day. Though no one else yet hears it. Across the village, most still sleep. A mother on a rooftop shifts beneath her blanket. Her child presses closer without waking. Their breathing remains slow. The breeze has grown cooler. She pulls the linen slightly higher around the child's shoulders. Even asleep, her hands remember care. Her eyes never open. The motion is instinct. A kindness so practiced it needs no thought. Then stillness returns. Nearby, a servant dreams. She walks in her sleep beside the Nile. In her dream, the water is brighter. The reeds are greener. She is not carrying anything. No jars. No baskets. No burdens. Only walking. Barefoot in cool mud. The dream is simple. That is why it comforts her. At the edge of the village, the fisherman's boat rocks gently. The rope creaks against its post. The reeds nearby move in the breeze. A fish breaks the surface for a brief moment. Then the water smooths again. The fisherman himself still sleeps. But not for long. Soon his eyes will open. Soon he will rise into darkness and make his way to the river. He will untangle nets with cold fingers. He will push his boat into black water. He will let the Nile carry him quietly toward the places where fish wait beneath the surface. But for now, he dreams. Dreams of sunlight on water. Dreams of nets full and heavy. Dreams of returning home with enough. Enough for food. Enough for trade. Enough for another day. Inside a small room, the village scribe sleeps lightly. Even in rest, his hands curl as though still holding his reed pen. His neck lies against a wooden headrest. His papyrus rolls are safely stored nearby. Tomorrow, numbers and names will demand his attention again. Grain tallies. Storehouse counts. Temple records. So much careful writing. So much quiet concentration. But not yet. Now he belongs to sleep. And even his thoughts have become still. The moonlight reaches his floor. A pale stripe across packed earth. Dust glimmers softly inside it. Tiny particles floating through cold air. For a moment, it looks like stars have entered the room. Outside, the palm trees whisper overhead. Their leaves touch and separate. Touch and separate. The sound is delicate. Like soft brushing cloth. Like quiet breathing. A dog opens one eye. Lifts its head. Listens. Then settles again. The village is safe. Nothing has changed. Only the slow passing of night. Far above, the stars continue their silent turning. They have watched this village for generations. They watched the grandparents when they were children. They watched builders lifting stone, mothers washing linen, farmers planting seeds, children running barefoot through dust. Tonight they watch sleeping faces, peaceful faces, tired faces, faces softened by moonlight, faces resting after ordinary days. There is something sacred in ordinary rest, something gentle in the surrender of exhaustion. Hands release their work, feet release the road, minds release their worries, bodies become still, breath becomes slow, and for a few precious hours, everyone belongs only to sleep. The baker continues turning the grinding stone, round and round. The sound remains steady. Soon another will wake. Then another. A fisherman. A mother. A farmer. A servant. The first quiet movements of morning will begin. But for now, the village remains suspended, balanced between night and dawn, between dreams and labor, between stillness and motion. The Nile flows beside it all, untroubled, patient, dark beneath the fading moon. Its waters carrying reflections of stars. Its waters carrying the memory of every evening that has passed here. Its waters waiting quietly for the first light to return. The night begins to thin. Very slowly. So slowly that the village does not yet feel it. The stars still shine above the Nile. The moon still rests over the quiet rooftops. The cool breeze still moves gently between mud-brick homes. But somewhere beyond the eastern horizon, hidden far beyond the dark line of the desert, morning is beginning to gather. It has not yet arrived. It only waits. A soft promise. A distant pale light preparing itself. For now, the village remains mostly asleep. The silence is deep and kind. It rests over everything like a linen cloth laid carefully over something precious. The baker continues his quiet work. The grinding stone turns beneath his hands. Round and round. A slow, familiar sound. It fills his small baking room. Stone against grain. Grain becoming flour. His shoulders ache, but he does not mind. This labor belongs to the calmest hour. The hour before voices. Before footsteps. Before heat. He pauses for a moment. Straightens his back. Listens. Nothing yet. Only the wind. Only the river. Only the sleeping village. He breathes in deeply. The room smells of flour and cool clay. Of old ash from yesterday's fire. Of wood waiting to burn. Soon the oven will glow again. Soon the first bread of the new day will begin to rise. But first, there is stillness. He treasures it. At the river's edge, the fisherman wakes. His eyes open to darkness. For a moment, he lies still. Listening. The familiar sounds are all there. The reeds moving softly. The river touching the shore. The quiet rope of his boat creaking gently. He smiles faintly. The Nile is awake before everyone else. It always is. He sits up. The cool air touches his skin. His joints feel stiff. His hands are rough. Yesterday's work still lives inside his shoulders. But the river is calling. Not loudly. Never loudly. Only with its steady presence. He rises. Wraps his linen around himself. Steps into his sandals. The earth beneath his feet is cool and damp near the water. Mud presses softly between his toes where the straps do not cover. He does not mind. This too feels familiar. Comforting. He unties his boat. The rope slips free. The wood shifts gently against the bank. His hands move over the nets. Checking. Straightening. Preparing. Every knot must be ready. Every thread must hold. The dark water waits. He pushes the boat outward. It glides into the Nile with almost no sound. A soft movement. A quiet surrender. The boat accepts the river. The river accepts the boat. He steps inside. Takes his oar. And begins. Slowly. Carefully. The first strokes of the day. Each pull is silent. Each ripple disappears into darkness. He moves deeper into the river. The village behind him remains asleep. Only a few small lights flicker now. The baker's lamp. Perhaps another where someone else has risen early. Tiny warm glows in a sea of cool blue night. On a rooftop, a mother wakes before dawn. Not because of noise. Not because of light. Only because her body has learned the hour. She opens her eyes to stars. For a moment, she lies still. Beside her, her children sleep deeply. One has kicked away a blanket. She reaches over and gently covers small feet. The linen is cool in her hands. She looks upward. The stars are beginning to fade. Only slightly. Most would not notice. But she does. Years of waking before sunrise have taught her how to read the sky. She knows what comes next. Grinding grain. Preparing water. Lighting the first small fire. Beginning again. Yet she does not rise immediately. She allows herself one quiet moment. One breath. One look at the fading stars. The breeze touches her face. The Nile murmurs in the distance. And for these few seconds, there is peace. Not because there is no work ahead, but because work has not yet begun. In another home, a small child wakes unexpectedly. He sits up. Confused for a moment. The room is dark. Moonlight slips across the floor. His parents sleep nearby. He listens. The silence feels large. He hears the river. The wind. A distant bird making a single quiet call. He lies back down. Pulls his linen close. His eyes close again. And sleep returns almost instantly. Such easy sleep belongs only to children. In the scribe's room, the lamp remains dark. But he is beginning to stir. His dreams are fading. The wooden headrest feels hard beneath his neck. His fingers twitch. As if still writing. Names. Numbers. Rows of careful symbols. Soon he will rise. Soon he will wash his face. Soon he will unroll fresh papyrus. But not yet. He remains suspended between sleeping and waking. A peaceful place. A brief and gentle pause. Across the village, animals begin to notice the changing hour. A rooster shifts on its perch. Not yet calling. Only moving. Preparing. A donkey lifts its head. Then lowers it again. Birds hidden in palm branches rustle softly. Their songs are waiting too. The world is listening. Waiting. The sky in the east grows lighter. Not bright. Only a whisper of gray. The stars nearest the horizon disappear first. The moon seems paler now. Its silver light softer. The night is not over. But it is changing. The Nile reflects this change. Its black surface becomes dark blue. Its silver edges become softer. Shapes emerge along the banks. Reeds. Boats. Footprints in drying mud. Things hidden by darkness begin to return. The fisherman sees them first. He is far enough from shore now that the village looks distant. Quiet. Small. The roofs are only shadows. The palms only shapes. The smoke of future fires has not yet risen. He pauses his oar. Lets the boat drift. For a moment, there is no movement except the river itself. He breathes. The cool air fills his lungs. His hands rest on the worn wood. This moment belongs only to him. The world before dawn. The calm before labor. The soft blue silence of the Nile. Soon he will cast his net. Soon effort will begin. But for now, he drifts. And listens. The village behind him begins to wake. One lamp. Then another. A door opening softly. Sandals touching packed earth. A grinding stone turning. The first signs. The quiet return of human movement. Night is leaving. Morning is arriving. And yet, the peace remains. Still resting over the Nile. Still lingering in the cool air. Still held in every slow breath. The long quiet evening has passed into night. The night is passing into dawn. And once again, ancient life begins anew beside the eternal river. The first light of dawn begins to spread across the eastern sky. It is faint at first. Only a pale gray line resting quietly beyond the far edge of the desert. The stars above the village begin to disappear, one by one. The brightest remain for a little longer. Small and stubborn. But soon they too will fade. The moon hangs low now. Its silver light is weaker. Its quiet watch almost complete. The village feels this change. Not all at once. Not in sound. Not in movement. But in breath. In instinct. In the slow stirring of bodies that have rested enough. A door opens softly. A woman steps outside carrying an empty water jar. Her feet touch cool packed earth. The clay feels cold in her hands. For a moment, she stands still. The dawn air wraps around her. It smells of wet riverbanks. Of palm leaves. Of dust not yet lifted by footsteps. This is the cleanest air of the day. The gentlest. She breathes deeply. Then begins walking toward the Nile. Her sandals brush softly against the road. She is not alone for long. Another woman appears from another doorway. Then another. Quiet figures moving through blue-gray light. Each carrying jars. Each moving without words. There is no need to speak. The day has not yet asked for voices. The Nile welcomes them. Its surface reflects the soft early sky. No longer black. No longer silver. Now a deep calm blue. The water is still cool. Their feet sink slightly into the damp mud at the river's edge. One by one, they kneel. Dip the jars. Listen to the water filling them. The hollow sound. The rising weight. The quiet splash. Simple work. Ancient work. The first task of the day. One woman splashes water over her face. The cold surprises her. She smiles. A small private smile. Then lifts her jar carefully onto her shoulder. Her back straightens beneath its weight. She turns toward home. The path awaits. In the baking room, the fire has been lit. The baker kneels before the clay oven. Orange light flickers inside its dark mouth. The first warmth of the new day gathers there. He presses fresh dough against the heated wall. One round. Then another. His hands move quickly. Surely. The smell of baking bread begins to rise. Warm. Rich. Comforting. Soon it will drift into the village streets. Soon it will mix with the cool dawn air. A promise of food. A promise of strength. A promise that life is beginning again. His young son sits nearby. Still sleepy. Still quiet. He watches the flames. His head nods once. Then again. The baker smiles softly. The child should still be asleep. But he wanted to come. To sit beside the warmth. To watch the bread. The baker says nothing. He lets him stay. The fire crackles gently. Outside, the first birds begin to sing. One clear call. Then another. Palm leaves stir overhead. The breeze is light. Tender. Soon it will disappear beneath the growing heat. But for now, it touches every face kindly. In the fields beyond the village, farmers are already walking. Their tools rest across their shoulders. Their steps are slow. The earth beneath them is cool. For now, a father and son walk side by side. Neither speaks. They do not need to. The path is familiar. The work is known. Ahead, the dark fertile soil waits. The gift of the Nile. Ready once more for hands and sweat. The son yawns. His father notices. But says nothing. The child will wake fully soon enough. The labor will do that. For now, the silence between them is enough. A quiet companionship. A shared beginning. At the river, the fisherman casts his first net. The movement is graceful. Practiced. The net opens in the air like a wide pale circle. Then falls. A soft splash. Ripples spread outward. The river receives it. He waits. Still. Listening. The boat drifts gently. The world around him is blue and gold now. The first sunlight touches the tops of the reeds. The village behind him glows faintly. Smoke begins to rise from ovens. Thin lines climbing into the brightening sky. He can smell it even here. Bread. Warm and familiar. He smiles. Soon he will return. But not yet. For now, he belongs to the water. In a shaded room, the scribe wakes fully. He sits up slowly. His neck stiff. His fingers already remembering their work. He washes his face from a clay basin. The water is cool. It wakes him. He feels more human afterward. More ready. He opens the small wooden box beside him. Inside, his tools wait. Papyrus. Ink. Reed pens. Carefully arranged. Precious. Necessary. He touches them gently. Then begins preparing for another day of careful writing. His work will be quiet. Still. Demanding. But there is peace in its order. Lines. Symbols. Rows that must remain straight. There is comfort in precision. In the village streets, children begin to appear. Some still rubbing sleep from their eyes. Some already carrying small baskets. A little girl helps her mother gather kindling. A little boy carries a small loaf from the baker. Warm against his hands. He tears off a tiny piece before reaching home. He cannot resist. The bread is soft. The steam rises. The taste makes him smile. Dust begins to stir beneath moving sandals. Doors open wider. Voices return. Softly at first. A greeting. A question. A quiet call to a child. The village is waking. Not suddenly. Not loudly. only gently. The way the Nile itself seems to wake. Slowly. Patiently. The first sunlight now reaches the mud brick walls. Gold spreads across them. The cool blue of dawn begins to fade. Warmth returns. The roofs brighten. The roads glow. The long quiet night has ended. Another day begins. Another day of labor. Of bread. Of water. Of dust. Of river air. Of tired feet and weary hands. And yet, beneath all of it, the memory of the peaceful night remains. Still hidden in the coolness of shaded walls. Still resting in the soft breath of early morning. Still moving quietly in the waters of the Nile. The village is awake again. The river flows beside it. And the ancient rhythm continues. Morning settles gently over the Nile village. The first light has fully arrived now. It spreads warmly across the mud brick homes, across the narrow winding paths, across the quiet river still holding traces of dawn's soft blue. The coolness remains, but only just. Already, the first hints of warmth can be felt in the walls and stones. The day is preparing itself. Slowly. Patiently. The village is awake. Not hurried. Not loud. Only moving. A woman carries freshly filled water jars back from the river. One balanced carefully on her shoulder. Another held against her hip. The clay presses cool against her skin. Each step must be steady. The path beneath her sandals is uneven. Dust gathers at her ankles. She walks carefully. Her breathing is calm. The weight is familiar. She has carried water like this for many years. Her mother did the same. And her mother before her. Some tasks never change. She reaches her doorway. Sets the jars down gently. The water inside settles with a soft hollow sound. Then she places her hands on the jar's smooth surface for a moment. Feeling its coolness. A small comfort before the day grows warm. Inside, her children are waking. One is already seated on the floor, tearing bread into small pieces. The loaf is still warm from the baker's oven. Steam rises faintly. The smell fills the room. Fresh grain. Warm clay. A little smoke. It is a comforting smell. A smell that belongs to every morning. The child chews slowly. Sleep still resting in heavy eyes. Beside him, his younger sister rubs her face and yawns. Her hair is tangled. Her feet dusty even before stepping outside. Soon she will help sweep the floor. Soon she will carry kindling. Soon she will follow her mother through the tasks of the day. But not yet. For now, she simply enjoys the bread. In the baker's room, the oven glows with quiet fire. The clay walls are warm. The air inside is already thick. The baker moves with calm speed. Turning loaves. Checking the crust. Removing finished bread and placing it on woven trays. His hands are strong. Rough. Marked by years of heat. Yet they move gently. The bread must not tear. The shape must hold. His son has fully awakened now. He helps carry finished loaves to the doorway. People are beginning to gather there. Farmers. Workers. Servants. Each takes what is needed for the day. Some exchange grain. Some offer fish. Some leave quietly. Their morning meals will be simple. Bread. Onions. Perhaps lentils. Perhaps dates. Enough to begin. Enough to endure. Across the village, doors remain open. The air still feels kind. People welcome it inside while they can. Soon the heat will return. For now, the breeze moves through every home, lifting linen cloths, carrying the scent of the river, cooling tired skin still remembering yesterday. A mother kneels to sweep dust from her floor. Her broom is made of bundled reeds. The motion is slow. Back and forth. Back and forth. Dust gathers into soft lines. Then into a small pile. Simple work. Steady work. Work that begins every day. Her youngest child watches. Then imitates her with a tiny broken branch. The mother smiles. She does not correct him. Learning begins this way. Through watching. Through copying. Through quiet patience. In the carpenter's workshop, the day begins with inspection. The finished stool from yesterday waits in the corner. He runs his fingers over its surface once more. Smooth. Ready. Then he selects fresh wood. The scent rises as he cuts. Dry. Sweet. Clean. Different from dust. Different from clay. Different from the river. He likes this scent. It reminds him that not all labor is harsh. Some work can be careful. Measured. Quiet. His tools rest neatly beside him. Wooden mallet. Bronze blade. Smooth stones for polishing. He begins. The first soft sounds of shaping. Tap. Scrape. Tap. The rhythm joins the village. Each household creating its own small music. In the fields, farmers have already begun. Their feet press into dark damp earth. Water glistens in irrigation channels. The Nile has left behind its rich black gift. Now the people must answer with effort. A man bends low to check the barley. Green shoots move gently in the breeze. His fingers brush them. Healthy. Strong. He nods. Nearby, his wife plants onions in careful rows. Their daughter carries a basket of seedlings. Too heavy for her small arms. But she tries. She does not complain. She only pauses now and then. Breathing harder. Then lifting again. The father notices. He takes half the basket without a word. She smiles. The work continues. The sun climbs higher. Its warmth begins to settle over the fields. Farmers feel it first on the backs of their necks. Then on their shoulders. Soon the shade will matter. Soon water will matter more. But not yet. There is still coolness in the soil. Still softness in the air. At the river, more boats move outward. Fishermen guiding them into deeper water. Their oars dip and rise. Dip and rise. The river accepts each movement. The fisherman from earlier checks his first net. His hands pull carefully. The rope feels wet and heavy. Water drips back into the Nile. Fish shimmer beneath the surface. A good beginning. Not many. But enough. Enough to continue. Enough to hope. He places them into his basket. Their silver scales catch the new sunlight. Then he casts again. The boat rocks gently beneath him. The water speaks softly against its sides. This too is a kind of peace. Even labor can feel peaceful here. When it moves with the river. When it follows the rhythm of water and sky. Back in the village, the scribe begins his first records. He unrolls fresh papyrus. The surface is smooth beneath his hand. His reed pen touches ink. Then paper. The first lines of the day. Grain deliveries. Labor counts. Temple supplies. careful symbols forming in straight rows. The room is quiet. Only the scratch of the pen. Only his breathing. Outside, voices pass. Footsteps. Birdsong. The world is moving. But here, inside these walls, time feels slower. Measured in lines and careful marks. Measured in patience. Morning continues. The sun rises. The village grows brighter. The roads fill. The dust lifts. Children run errands. Women carry baskets. Men shoulder tools. The ancient day opens fully. Another day beside the Nile. Another day of ordinary labor. Ordinary hunger. Ordinary fatigue. Ordinary hope. And somewhere beneath it all, the memory of the night remains. The quiet stars. The silver river. The cooling breeze. The peaceful breathing of sleeping families. It lingers. Softly. Inside every tired heart. Waiting for evening to return once more. The morning deepens. The early softness of dawn has begun to fade, though it has not disappeared completely. The village still holds some of the cool breath of night. In shaded corners, the air remains gentle. Beneath roof edges and inside mud-brick rooms, the walls still carry traces of darkness. But outside, in the open streets and along the fields, the sunlight grows stronger. It spreads across the village in slow, warming layers. The paths brighten. The clay rooftops glow. The Nile reflects the widening sky, now pale blue and clear. Its quiet surface moves steadily, carrying light along with water. In one small home, breakfast has ended. The last pieces of bread have been eaten. Crumbs remain on a woven mat. A child gathers them carefully into a small clay bowl. Nothing is wasted. Even the smallest piece may be needed later. The mother rinses the family's cups with water from a clay jar. She pours only a little. Just enough. Her hands are practiced. Nothing spills. Nothing is hurried. The water runs over the smooth cups and onto the packed earth floor. The dampness darkens the dust for a moment. Then begins to fade. Soon the floor will be dry again. The youngest child sits near the doorway, tracing shapes in the dust with one finger. Lines. Circles. Little boats. Tiny fish. His quiet play mirrors the world around him. Outside, a donkey passes slowly, carrying sacks of grain. Its hooves press soft marks into the road. Dust rises and settles behind it. The child watches. Then returns to his drawings. In another part of the village, two women sit together beneath a shaded awning. They work with linen. Their hands move steadily, mending tears and smoothing edges. The cloth is pale and soft. It folds easily. The women speak in low voices. Not much. Only small exchanges. A comment about the weather. A question about a child. A quiet memory of a neighbor who has been ill. Their voices blend with the sounds around them. Birds calling from palm branches. Footsteps in the street. The distant rhythm of someone grinding grain. The gentle scrape of linen against skin. These simple sounds build the shape of the morning. Not dramatic. Not urgent. Only steady. Only familiar. In the carpenter's workshop, sunlight now reaches the doorway. A golden line stretches across the floor. Dust floats inside it. Tiny particles turning slowly in the air. The carpenter pauses for a moment and notices them. They look almost like stars. Small and drifting. A quiet reminder of the night that has only just passed. Then he returns to his work. His blade moves along the edge of a wooden beam. Smooth. Careful. The scent of cedar rises again. Dry and sweet. His hands are strong, but gentle. He shapes each piece slowly. There is no reason to rush. The wood will not hurry. Neither will he. Across the fields, labor has settled into rhythm. Farmers bend and lift. Step and press. Dig and smooth. The earth is still cool enough to touch comfortably. A man kneels beside an irrigation channel. He uses his hands to guide water toward a row of young plants. The Nile's gift must be directed carefully. Too little water and the plants will weaken. Too much, and the roots may suffer. His fingers move through mud. Soft. Cool. The sensation is grounding. He has known this feeling since childhood. His father taught him. And his father before that. The river teaches every generation the same lessons. Patience. Attention. Respect. Nearby, a woman straightens and places one hand against her lower back. A small ache. Nothing unusual. She closes her eyes for a moment. Breathes deeply. Then bends again. The work continues. Her daughter carries water in a small jar. Back and forth. Back and forth. The jar is not heavy, but the distance feels long to her. She does not complain. She only walks. Step after step. Learning what it means to be useful. At the river, fishermen drift farther from shore. The sun catches the tops of their boats. The wood gleams softly. One fisherman checks his basket. Several fish lie inside. Silver and still. A good beginning. Not a great catch. But enough to quiet worry. Enough to soften the tightness in his chest. He rests his oar across his knees for a moment. Lets the boat drift. The water rocks him gently. The Nile does not demand. It only moves. Always forward. Always calm. He looks back toward the village. Smoke rises from cooking fires. Thin and pale. The roofs are bright now. The roads alive with movement. He feels far away. And yet deeply connected. The village depends on him. As he depends on the river. Each life touching another. Invisible threads. Simple bonds. Inside the scribe's room, rows of symbols continue to grow. His pen scratches softly across the papyrus. He dips it again into ink. Then writes. The room is cool. The walls thick. Outside, the sun climbs. Inside, the light remains soft. He prefers this place. Not because it is easy. His neck will ache by noon. His eyes will tire. His fingers will stain. But the quiet suits him. The order comforts him. There is peace in making careful lines. In recording what must be remembered. Grain. Names. Days of labor. Deliveries. Absences. Small details that shape the life of the village. Without his marks, much would be forgotten. His work preserves the ordinary. That feels important. Though he rarely says so. Children now fill the village paths. Some carry baskets. Some chase one another. Some help with errands. Their laughter rises and falls like birdsong. Never lasting long. Always returning. A little boy carries onions from one house to another. He walks carefully at first. Then begins to skip. One onion rolls free. He chases it. Catches it. Looks around to see if anyone noticed. An old woman watching from her doorway smiles. She says nothing. She remembers such moments. The sun climbs higher still. The warmth becomes more certain. The breeze begins to fade. Shadows shorten. Soon the village will begin to seek shade again. Soon water jars will feel more precious. Soon sweat will return. But for now, morning still lingers. A gentle middle place. Between cool dawn and heavy noon. Between rest and fatigue. Between silence and effort. The Nile flows beside it all. Steady. Quiet. Its waters bright beneath the rising sun. Its banks lined with footprints. Fresh ones. From farmers. From women with water jars. From children. From fishermen. Soon the prints will blur. New ones will replace them. As they always do. Another ordinary morning. Another day unfolding. Slowly. Patiently. Beneath the endless Egyptian sky. The day has moved far beyond the quiet hours where our story began. The sun has crossed the sky. The work has been done. Bread has been baked. Water has been carried. Fields have been tended. Fish have been pulled from the Nile. Hands have grown tired. Feet have gathered dust. Voices have risen and softened again. And now, the evening has returned. Just as it always does. Slowly. Gently. The light begins to fade from the mud brick walls. The warmth of the day lingers in the stone, but the air has begun to cool. A soft breeze moves once more across the village. It slips through open doorways. Across quiet rooftops. Along the riverbank where reeds bend and whisper. The Nile glows beneath the final light. Its waters reflect gold. Then amber. Then silver. The boats have returned. Their ropes tied loosely to familiar posts. The nets have been folded. The tools have been set aside. The ovens have gone dim. Their last warmth still holding the scent of bread. Families gather together. The evening meal is simple. Shared in silence. Or in soft conversation. Children grow quiet. Their heavy eyes blinking more slowly. Their small hands resting in their laps. Mothers smooth tangled hair. Fathers lean back against cool walls. Grandparents sit nearby, watching the stars begin to appear. One by one. Tiny points of light returning to their ancient places. The same stars. The same river. The same quiet village. So many evenings have passed like this. So many ordinary lives have ended their days beside this water. Farmers. Builders. Scribes. Servants. Fishermen. Children. People whose names have faded with time. People whose footsteps have long disappeared from the dusty roads. And yet, their quiet lives remain. In the rhythm of the Nile. In the memory of warm clay walls. In the soft sound of sandals on stone. In the smell of bread rising before dawn. In the cool touch of river water against tired hands. In the silence of rooftops beneath a sky full of stars. The village settles once more. Doors close softly. Lamps flicker low. Reed mats are unrolled. Wooden headrests are placed carefully. Blankets are pulled over tired shoulders. A child sighs in sleep before fully drifting away. A mother hums one final quiet song. A father listens to the wind. And beyond them all, the Nile continues. Always moving. Always patient. A slow ribbon of dark water beneath the moon. Its surface carrying reflections of stars. Its current carrying memory. It's quiet, carrying peace. The reeds whisper gently at the edge of the shore. Palm leaves move softly overhead. The village breathes. Slowly. Deeply. Together. The long day is finished. The labor has ended. The dust can settle. The hands may rest. The feet may grow still. The eyes may close. And now, as the moon climbs higher over ancient Egypt, as the cool night wraps itself around the mud-brick homes, as the river sings its endless quiet song, the village drifts softly into sleep. And beside the eternal Nile, everything becomes calm. Everything becomes quiet. Everything becomes still. Only the water moves. Only the stars remain awake. And far into the peaceful ancient night, history itself seems to breathe more slowly, softly, endlessly, until even that fades into silence.